to turn your dreams into reality? Welcome to the Unpopular Playground podcast, where Jenn Lin and Debbie will help you navigate life's twists and turns and rock your world by the time you're 30.
All right, we are on. We are back for our third talk, roommates, do's and don'ts. We're progressing quite nicely in this theme of housing. I am Jenn Lin, and this is
And I am Debbie, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about roommate do's and don'ts. Essential roommate etiquette hinges on open communication, mutual respect, and cleanliness. Key actions include setting clear, early boundaries on chores, bills, and guests, while avoiding behaviors like stealing food, disrespecting personal space, or leaving messes in the common area. Now, some of the do's that I have. Did you want to add anything to that intro, Jen?
No, you covered a lot of points. I have some deal breaker questions to ask, and then
Okay.
I have a little list of do's and don'ts. So I'll
Okay.
let you go ahead and start off, and then anything that's different from what I have, I'll peel up.
For roomie do's, communicate immediately. Discuss issues as they arise rather than letting resentment build. So if somebody's doing something and each time they do it, the hair on your back goes up, talk to them and explain why you feel that way and come to some kind of agreement that, okay, I won't do this or whatever. If you're the person living in the house first, compile a list of all the do's and don'ts for anybody living in the house.
Can I bring a point up on that? When you directly communicate, there's a nice way to do it that somebody near and dear, she was another nurse friend that's not with us anymore. And she helped my son with this. When you talking to people, you say, you do this, so that they don't take it personal. You're calm, and it would be like I'm saying to you, Debbie, when you leave things in the sink, it makes me feel like I have to do everything, and it makes me feel like you don't care about the living space. I prefer that you could, so that we could all get along, if you could just clean up after yourself and not leave things in the sink.
Well, I agree with that. Whenever I'm confronting somebody about
little-
anything, always do. When you do this, it makes me feel like that. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying
Exactly.
your actions affect me in this way, and we need to do something to correct that so that I don't end up hating you and throwing you out.
And you say what you prefer. Prefer with this. Let's see if we can come to an agreement, because I don't want resentment to build up. It's like one of the best formulas. I use it
Oh, yeah.
because then it's not like a you thing, because you keep you out of it when you're having those discussions. And that's going to go a long way when you're having those direct conversations.
Absolutely. But having a do and don't list, yeah. But
That would be a good point to say that with direct points. It seemed to be fitting. I hope
oh,
we-
yeah. Yeah. Way back when in one of our discussions, whether it was communication and that, I had brought up that point that never say, I don't like when you do this, because now you're putting the blame on somebody. I've always been a supervisor or a boss. And when something happened, take the person aside and just say, I just want you to know that when you do this or when you said that to me, this is how I took it and this is how I felt. But I just want to let you know. And then the person go, well, that wasn't, because that happened to me as a supervisor and a boss because of my New York accent and my, I'm just so rigid. They always were like, oh, Miss Debbie's mad. She yelled at me. No, I didn't yell at you. But when I had new employees, I told them, when you are working with me, if there ever is anything I do or say that upsets you or affects you in a certain way, please come to me first, because I guarantee you that's not what was intended and we can fix it right then and there. I can only know you by you communicating with me. And that's the same thing with a roommate.
When other people bring up things to you about somebody else for roommate communication, if they're talking about another roommate and complaining to you about it, a lot of times I would say, well, do they know about it? Do they know the problem? And you encourage them to go handle it with them directly. Don't let them triangulate you into drama.
Right. I totally agree. Make sure you set boundaries early, establish rules for cleaning, quiet hours, temperature in the house, and sharing belongings. Respect your privacy and space. Not before entering. Treat their room as off limits a respect their need for quiet alone time. I don't know why people do this, but I'll walk into my bedroom or bed and people follow me. And it's like, this is my space. The only people that can follow me are my dogs. I'll have to go, hey, kids, out. And if my door is closed, knock on the door. When I come to your house, I knock on the door and go, is it okay if I come in? So this is showing boundaries and respect for the other person, quiet and time.
Respect.
That's all. Now clean up promptly, wash your dishes, take out the trash, keep personal items out of shared spaces. I am a stickler about how my coffee machine is treated, how dish,
I think there should be a certification for your coffee.
right? I know, but see, I let
Certified.
people know in the
do.
beginning, this is what you do. And there's a reason. It's not just because I'm like neurotic. It's like there's a reason.
No.
It's like health reason.
Yeah.
I
I
cannot
think it's fabulous.
dishes in the sink, even if it's a fork, because if you could put it in the sink, you could have washed it. And I don't like going to a sink and washing my dish and then feeling obligated, even though people say, well, I was going to come back and do it. Yeah, but if I want to use the sink for something else, now your shit is in my spot.
Yeah.
And clean your dishes, put them in the dishwasher. I don't use my dishwasher here because I'm all by myself and I use paper plates. But in my other house, I had grandkids coming and I'd go and I'd look and there'd be pots and pans in the sink, sometimes not even with water in them to get the gunk off of
Yeah.
them. And
Hard and press.
the dishwasher was right next to the sink. And it's like, how hard is it to pull the door down and put them in there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but these are things on your list. You communicate these things to your people that are living with you.
A funny story on that.
Sure.
And it kind of goes back to house selection. When I went to go look at somebody's home to potentially to rent there, she told me, well, I'm not quite ready. I was like, oh, I knew you were coming. So no, actually, no, it was this. She said, I knew you were coming. So I cleaned up extra special for you. So I go inside. The house is a mess and the dishes were piled sky high, but she had cleaned up just for me. And I said, well, thank you. I'll let you know. She said, but I didn't even show you the bedroom. Well, I'm on a time schedule and I got some other apartments to look at. But thank you for your time. I was out of there quicker than if she's living like that now. I knew I could not live with that.
No, no, no. You got to respect people. And I'm one that when friends come to visit and my grandkids, you know where everything is in the house. And I always say, if it's in the pantry, if it's in the refrigerator, it's yours to share with me. Don't ask me, can I have this? Because it's like, was it in the refrigerator? Then yes, you can. Because if I didn't want people to have things, I wouldn't make that offer. And one thing, I don't cook. So when anybody comes, I'll tell them, here's all the spices. Here's the pan. Here's the pan for the spraying the pots and pans. Here's the pots and pans. But I'm not going to cook. So if you want to, but you better clean up when you're done. Right. Oh, yeah.
Done. And he would eat them anyway. So he would open the thing. And it would be like Memphis. The boys are always hungry. And it'd be like, I mean it. Do not eat this food like a second warning. I will stab you with a fork. Do not eat this food. But I mean, other than that, like you said, everything else is off limits or whatever. You would have to communicate that and you would have to know what your section is, especially if you're living with roommates.
Exactly. And another thing for roomies, split your expenses fairly. Ensure that bills, rent and household items, toilet paper, cleaning supplies are paid for promptly. So in other words, if I'm buying the detergent for the machine and I'm buying the dishwasher stuff, I don't mind if we share, but at least pay me for what I paid for those items. I don't want to be paying your cost of living. So these are things that you need to address. And also ask before using items. Never assume you can borrow clothes, food, or toiletries. I will gladly share certain things, yes, certain things, no, but never assume like your makeup was on the counter, so I used it. Well, did you ask? Respect other people's property, respect other people's personal space. You take care of you, I take care of me, and we'll take care of what needs to be taken together.
Should I bring up a point?
Yeah, because that's all I have on dues.
Okay, perfect. Because what I've done, because I've been in that situation a lot more, sometimes we would, in some places, like I would do the toilet paper, they would do the kitchen things if we ran out of dishwashing stuff. And then
Right.
sometimes we would take turns, like things run out, something like
Communicated.
that. But yeah, it was a communicative thing. You have to talk it out.
Communication is the key. If you're going to live with somebody, even when you're married, communication is the key. Nobody is a mind reader. And once you set the boundaries and tell people what you expect, and you have to do the same thing yourself. I would never leave anything in a sink when I had company because I wouldn't want them to feel, well, she put her cup there, so I'm going to leave my cup there. No, because I might have put my cup there for a second because I had to run out to use the restroom or answer the phone. But doesn't mean you come behind me and leave your stuff there too, because the rule is you don't leave stuff in the sink. And I'll come back and I'll wash my own. I've had a grandchild live with me and it was war all the time.
Oh,
Dishes
yes.
will sink. And cleaning up. You're going to cook? Clean up the stove, clean the counters.
Yeah.
Obviously, things
Plus, it's
right.
easier to clean as you go instead of waiting until the very end. Who wants to deal with the whole kitchen when you're done eating? You can do it as you go while you're waiting for your other things
Yeah,
to go.
exactly. I always tell people, you see my kitchen? I don't care. You want to cook, you want to eat, whatever else. But I expect that anytime I walk into this kitchen, it looks that way. Same as the bathroom that are for my guests. You see this? When you leave, I want it to look the same way. I'll give you cleaning
Right.
supplies if
Well,
you made a
what's
mess.
nice is that when you lay out the expectations, then if somebody's a guest or living with something else, if you don't communicate, you don't have, my thing is, you don't have the right to be upset because
Right.
I don't know that it's a problem.
Right.
If I don't know that it's a problem or what the expectation is, you can't be mad. You can't act upset. And so you don't have a right to be upset unless you communicate that it's a problem.
Exactly.
And as far as the supplies go, they're not going to resupply themselves. When you wash dishes and you don't have any more dishwashing soap, but let's say I eat out and I'm like Debbie and I don't cook. Why should I have to do the bulk supply of the dishwashing stuff if I'm not doing
Right.
dishes and I do paper plates? So you have to think about what's fair in that. Everybody goes to the bathroom, so everybody should contribute equally on that toilet paper.
That's
But
just
think about
nuts.
sharing expenses. You and I don't eat that much. So it'll
No.
be just like you're going out to dinner. And I
Right.
love how you'll go out with 4 or 5 other people and they're ordering 3 things, 3 bottles of wine, different
Appetizers.
appetizers, and a meal that could feed 4 people. And then I'm eating like I split an appetizer with Debbie, but let's split the bill 5 ways. Well, hell
No.
no. I'll just pay for
Yeah.
my own and you can split because you guys are the ones eating. And the same thing goes with sharing supplies. It depends on what you're using. If you all use equally, then you pay equally. But if you're not using things equally, then you work out a ratio that's going to be fair.
It's common sense, but a lot of people today don't have common sense.
If you don't advocate for yourself, you're going to be paying for things that you're not using, and they're going to be taking advantage of that. They're like, oh,
Right.
well,
And
let's
you're
split
going to
it.
resent.
We're gonna split it, and you're going to be upset. And you're not going to have a right to be upset unless you have that. And it's best to get all this worked out in the beginning before you even agree to stay there. Don't make this plan when you're there. Don't think, oh, I'll just move in and it'll all work out because it won't.
I've never had people that lived with me, but even with that, unfortunately, she was a granddaughter at that age, and it's like it went in one ear and out the other. So we spent a lot of time fighting and getting.
Well, when my son
But
said he wanted to move out, moved into a house with 5 other people, and I said,
mm,
are you sure you want to do that? I'm trying to help him out. He insisted on going. Oh, it'll all work out. Well, within 3 months, I was going over there and helping him pack up and move out. When I went there, it looked like a drug house because it
okay,
was trash, literal trash everywhere. Just a bunch of kids just got out of high
yes,
school and just went there. They had no idea how to do laundry. They had no idea how to even put the trash where it belongs. So
right,
his clothes were which, and it was a nightmare. But he didn't think about that. I tried to tell him, but sometimes you just can't tell kids things.
right.
Kids listen to your parents sometimes. At least, they might not know everything, but if they're trying to help you, take into consideration some of their things because I'm sure there's some of the things that we're trying to tell you because you don't want to end up having to move out sooner than planned and break a
Right.
lease, having to do that.
Do you have any more do's?
The only heads up about guests, I had that.
Well, that's on the don't.
Overnight guests.
Those are, yeah, but those are on don'ts.
Oh, I had that on my do's.
Oh,
That to
well,
give a heads up.
okay.
I just have one more. Lock the door and be mindful of security. If you're not the only one living there, make sure to lock up the stuff because it's not just your stuff that you need to keep secure. It's other people's things and also candles. Don't leave the door wide open and a candle burning. I had that happen when I had to share with somebody in the
Oh,
Air
God.
Force. I ended up finding it down. I was like, "Do you realize you left the door open and the candle burning?" I said, "My things are in there too." So for everybody to steal and the whole building could have burnt out. I said it was really hard to keep my calm. It's really hard to be calm about that. I somehow managed, but I didn't have a choice over my roommate either. You will.
Right. And that's the thing. The biggest thing my husband always used to say, you give people too much credit thinking that they're as smart as you are or have as much common sense. And I always used to say, the world is made of stupid people. And I did start writing a book, jotting down all the stupid things that people do, you know.
Could I just
So,
bring up one more do? Because I just thought about it. You are in a multiple roommate situation, and let's say as a group, somebody has to go because they did stupid things. You all need to pay attention to how people are living,
right.
pay attention to other people, and then ask the right questions when you're interviewing a new roommate.
Exactly.
That-
Make sure that your roommates also have renter's insurance because then if something is misplaced or gets taken by one of their guests or whatever, they can't come back and blame you for it. They have renter's insurance. The insurance will cover it. And if you've got prized possessions, lock them up. I don't care. Lock them up. I don't trust anybody. Well, I trust you, but, and a
Yeah.
few of my friends, but I wouldn't even trust roommate. My stuff,
Do have a lock on your
I
door.
houses, bedrooms too.
Have
Yeah,
a personal lock on your door so other
yeah,
strangers and their guests can't come into your room, to your personal
right.
space.
Exactly. All right. Now we'll get on to the
Oh,
don'ts. Don't bring over guests unexpectedly. If you're going to have a guest over, whether they're coming for the day or they're going to spend the night, inform your roommates, especially the overnights, well in advance. Don't ignore hygiene. Don't leave dirty clothes, trash, or bodily messes in shared areas. That would be a deal breaker for me. If I told you that in the beginning and I found that you would be out, I'm sorry, you broke that lease right then and there. Don't
yeah.
be loud during quiet hours. Be mindful of volume, especially when others are sleeping or studying. Don't hoard the common space. Don't let your personal items take over the living room or the kitchen. You're sharing this in shared common areas. Don't force friendships. It's okay to be civil and polite, but not best friends. Don't snoop or invade privacy. Never go through a roommate's belongings or enter their room without permission. And don't go through cabinets looking for things or if I keep a bottle of aspirins in one of the cabinets. Doesn't mean it's there for you to use. Just say, can I have an aspirin? But God forbid you ever go in my room or go through my belongings. It'd be the death of you. Okay. Those are my don'ts. And then I'll give you policies and rules. But what did you
Oh,
want
I
to say
love
about the
that.
don't?
Okay, so for don'ts, don't borrow personal items without explicit permission. Unless it's yours, you don't touch it. And then passive aggressively leaving notes instead of talking. Talking it out. You don't just leave a passive aggressive note. Just have a conversation about it. It's not that hard. People aren't
Yeah.
that scary. If you feel like you can't have a conversation with somebody, you don't belong there.
Right.
And then using their things without asking or breaking them, having that renter's insurance. But if I ask to borrow your cup and I broke, I'm going to replace it. You want to replace it,
Exactly.
and you want to treat things better than your stuff. Even that, I mean, that's the way I was raised. Other people's things better than your things, and hopefully you would want to have your things nice. You want to have nice things, you treat it better, so you're covered.
Follow us here, the Unpopular Playground. Share this with your young adult and high school friends.
Reach out to us on Insta at Unpopular Playground 1791 with your questions, or to say hi.